Leader, Lords, elected representatives, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ulster Unionists, I'm delighted to speak to this conference today as the Ulster Unionist Party spokesperson on the economy. It has been a pleasure to work alongside our new leader and the strong team of MLAs at Stormont. I believe we have real cause to be optimistic in the Ulster Unionist Party. I commend the leader for his management of the team and for his dedication and commitment to the future of this historic party. I thank you, fellow members, for your advice and support, many of whom I've called on for your knowledge and skills. The economic circumstances in which we currently find ourselves are not as positive. While the UK economy is going through a double-dip recession, probably resulting in zero growth for 2012, Northern Ireland is lagging further behind, with negative growth estimated of -0.4 by the year end. The latest labour statistics published on the 12th of September continue to cause anxiety in households right across Northern Ireland. The unemployment rate here is now above the UK average at 8.2%. This means that somewhere in the region of 79,000 people are currently unemployed in Northern Ireland. Youth unemployment has risen to 23.5%, also above the UK average. And with 63,100 people currently claiming unemployment-related benefits, Northern Ireland is the second highest of all UK regions. Construction is now experiencing the fastest and deepest recession in terms of job losses in recent history. And our manufacturing sector is also in decline. Prior to the current downturn, Northern Ireland's private sector firms enjoyed 56 consecutive months of expansion from April 2003 to November 2007. Since then, the Purchasing Managers Index survey failed to signal growth for 57 consecutive months. Many of our local businesses are struggling on an ongoing basis against the tide of increasing energy costs, high taxes, red tape, and a lack of access to finance. These are the circumstances we are faced with, and it is right that we point out the severity of the situation. I have heard the pleas, don't talk down the economy, or you can't say that, it will harm business confidence. I think the Enterprise Minister doesn't want anyone to burst her bubble. Yes, we do want to think positive, but the Ulster Unionists wouldn't walk around with our head in the clouds. Let's get a reality check. The economy has been suffering for quite some time, but it took the job losses at FG Wilson to make ministers call a mini-summit on the state of the economy. Why wasn't it done before now? The reality is that confidence should be based on fact, and the facts are that DUP and Sinn Féin have presided over a mess in the Department of the Enterprise and the Department of Finance, all the while content to blame global economic trends or the Eurozone. Whilst those issues, of course, affect us in Northern Ireland, I do believe that local politicians here can effect change. Otherwise, what would be the point of devolved government? The economy paper, which has been presented to conference today, outlines some of the areas where action is needed and change is required. A game changer is needed. Many in the business sector are referring to an announcement on the devolution and subsequent lowering of corporation tax as the game changer that Northern Ireland needs. The Ulster Unionist Party led with this proposal in 2010, and we remain firm in our belief that it has the potential to play a significant role in rebalancing the economy. Figures from various sources suggest 50,000 extra jobs and even up to 90,000 extra jobs over a 10-year period. I cannot help but be disappointed that the working group containing the First and Deputy First Ministers, as well as the Enterprise and Finance Ministers, has yet failed to deliver this important economic lever for the people of Northern Ireland. As usual, the excuses are at the ready. it's the Secretary of State's fault, or the Treasury won't give us a fair deal. But the time for excuses is over, and we need to see delivery. It is unclear how this working group is really working. With the First Minister explaining to me during question time on Monday that they were not actually negotiations. We expected an announcement in June, but it's now September. This delay is unhealthy for the Northern Ireland economy. It does nothing to build confidence for the future of our economy. Ulster Unionists will not give up easily on this issue. We demand full devolution powers. Furthermore, Ulster Unionists would look to set the corporation rate targeting support for Northern Ireland's small and medium businesses by initially reducing the small profits rate to ease the impact on the block grant. We could then proceed with the full corporation rate. Other options that could be considered would include reducing corporation tax for certain sectors. All these factors should be discussed within the working group, and as yet it is unclear what is being talked about. Ulster Unionists would not walk away from this so-called working group without an economic game changer. If not corporation tax devolution, then at the very least investment in our Northern Ireland infrastructure. I strongly believe that we need to focus on specific sectors of our economy if we are serious about recovery and growth. As once we were world leaders in shipbuilding, the linen industry and ropeworks, we can again set the pace on a global scale in STEM, in agri-food, in the creative industries, in tourism and the social economy. STEM, or science, technology, engineering and maths, is vital for economic growth, and we must upskill our workforce accordingly, with the first step being to halt the decline in STEM enrolments in further and higher education. We must also ensure that Indigenous businesses are adequately supported in this field. The recent job losses at F.G. Wilson's engineering firm is partially the outworking of a failure to do so by the current regime. A cross-departmental approach is required, involving, amongst others, education, employment and learning, enterprise, trade and investment, and the Office of the First and Deputy First Minister. And we need that buy-in from across the board. Agri-food is also an area which is especially important in respect of jobs, given that agri-food currently generates around 20% of local private sector employment. The food and drink manufacturing sector is a key element within our Northern Ireland economy. In fact, it was the agri-food sector which has continued to grow throughout the difficult economic times. Scotland provides an excellent example of a country being able to add value to their homegrown products and plan to grow their agri-food sector by 40 to 60%. If Northern Ireland could invest and grow this sector by 40%, I understand it could generate up to 15,000 new jobs and create in excess of £600 million in new exports. We also need fairness for farm gate prices through the introduction of a groceries code adjudicator, which would bring benefits to the wider agricultural industry. So we need action from government, and we need it now. I refer to the agri-food, which also has a strong record in exporting, and that leads me on to another important point. The Ulster Unionist Party believes we need a more ambitious export strategy, which will allow local businesses to break into new and emerging markets. The current targets within the economic strategy lack aspiration, but I want to see Northern Ireland companies striving for excellence internationally. Whilst we rely heavily on Great Britain and the Republic of Ireland for much of our exports, we need to look further afield for opportunities. Given the current worldwide economic climate, we need to focus on the new and emerging markets. It is imperative that local companies can develop the confidence and contacts to do business further afield, such as Brazil, Russia, India and China. I also want to see the Finance Minister finally get to grips with public procurement. Ulster Unionists are calling for the total reform of this $3 billion a year spend within central and local government. We suggest encouraging joint ventures between micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, breaking contracts into smaller and more manageable parts, facilitating secondments from the private sector into the public sector to increase understanding of procurement processes, or improving access to information through the Public Procurement Online portal. The Ulster Unionist Party is unambiguously stating that we want public procurement opportunities to be tailored specifically towards local businesses. These are just some of the ideas which need to be explored, but no single policy is a panacea. Government listening to business is crucial, something that I am hearing time and time again from the business sector. Government needs business acumen and therefore needs to think more like a business. Leader, Lords, ladies and gentlemen, as I said at the outset, local politicians can effect change in our economy. We must have common sense government, bold decision making and a willingness to back our local businesses. Thank you.